Welcome to NTA episode number 26, which means we've been doing this half a year, which is psychotic.
Crazy work. Remember your pitch that even made me do this to begin with was just like, hey, you know how sometimes we talk about dogs on the phone? We would just do that, but it would be recorded.
Yeah.
I was actually thinking the other day, because I was going off about like dog training personalities and
You're
talk
like,
show,
this
like
should
that
be
whole like
recorded.
content economy. And then I
Yep.
was like, wait, I have a show. It was like, but I had to be like manipulated into doing it, and I'm very grateful because it's been really fun.
It's very clever. Yeah.
Yeah, it actually, like, unironically, I got kind of, yeah. So a couple things. I want to clarify what karate Cabral means. Or did I say Cabral? No, karate Cabral. So some really interesting footage has surfaced, and I'm like 95% sure it's of Robert Cabral like 30 years ago in these weird fake martial arts tapes where he's in a dojo with a guy that says he has like spirit chakra powers, and he's like bending Robert's life energy. Um, I've I've reached out for comment from him. I don't know if he's gonna get back. But yeah, I'm like 95% sure it's him. You can go to my Instagram story for the tape, or you can ask me and I'll DM it to you. I tagged him in the original on the McDojo page. I was like, is this you getting your chakra manipulated by whatever? So that's what Karate Cabral is. I want to circle back to the dogs and cars Denise thing. So more stuff has come out about her. It's actually just not a morally or logically tenable position to try to defend her anymore. It turns out that on her blog, she was explicitly instructing her readers to go from, if the dog breaks place once, you can reset them. If he breaks place again, put him in the crate. If he barks in the crate, put on a crate cover. If he barks under the cover, put him in the car. She actually just outlines that straight up. I linked the blog on my Facebook. This is all her words. If you think that more context is going to make this make more sense, I've got bad news for you. It turns out she's actually just a psychopath. But I do think it's important to clarify that actual accidents do happen to normal people that are not being psychotically negligent.
Correct. And again, it is extremely normal to leave dogs in cars at sport training. Like it's not that putting dogs in cars is wrong. It's the fact that it was used as a management tool when there were other options available that she deliberately chose not to use that were much, much, much less risky. Like that.
With the added psychosis of the fact that she is a renowned industry leading expert that is having to do this with her own dogs and instructing others to do it. So I actually speculated on the last show, and it was a little bit of virtue signaling on my part. A little bit of it felt like stupid virtue signaling when I look back on it, but I was like, dude, is she teaching people to do this? And it turns out she actually is. That moment where I felt a little bit of regret and was like, I feel like I took it too far, actually was true. So it's like, the fact is just as bad, if not worse, than the fiction. Like, if you think of it, they're doing it. Like that. Yep. That's what we're dealing with here.
Yeah.
But
yeah, tragic accidents that actually, like, I mean, there's been several instances of house fires and multiple, like, genuinely tragic.
Well,
like
let's scale it. Let's scale it more towards dog training. Let's scale it more towards dog training. Let's do like a hypothetical. You're going to take a dog out of a car, and the crate latch broke, and you're fumbling with your phone or your leash or something as you're going to open the door, and the dog jumps out and runs into a car or something like that. There are steps there that could have been taken if you were being more present-minded about getting the dog. But anybody that says that they don't autopilot through some things is lying.
Yeah. Like, how many times have you backed out of your driveway without actually looking?
Right.
And you just happened to not hit a kid. Like,
exactly. So like in that scenario, was that technically preventable? Yes. But the outcome is radically disproportionate to the mistake. Like, in that context, that person made an honest mistake.
Intention behind it.
And there was a brutal, awful punishment for this basic little momentary mistake. What you are looking at with Denise is a deliberate, methodical pattern of behavior that directly resulted, allegedly, in the death of her own dog. That's these are two completely separate dimensions of reality. There is no gray area. There's no debate to be had about this. I haven't heard any debate. Again, I don't know if I mentioned it on the show. I've been I did try to reach out to Denise defenders looking for this to make sure I wasn't missing an argument, right? And all I got back was kind of what you were saying, where like they're drawing a comparison between an honest thing that just happened to someone versus someone doing this on purpose with intent. Now, it would be interesting to do a follow-up conversation with some of these people after I shared the blog post. I did not get any defense from Denise. I mean, again, it was like 99-1 against 4. I got 0 Denise defenders responding to this recent one. So there's a difference. Mistakes and accidents do happen. That does not mean that everyone is on the same level of moral culpability. It's not even close, right? You can evaluate things case to case, and sometimes really good people that do the right thing 99.9% of the time, they slip up and that 0.1 crushes them. That absolutely can happen. Okay, that's all I wanted to say on this.
And also, like, just to tag on that too, like before I hit record, you wanted to clarify that so that dog trainers that are newer are not guilt tripping themselves for every little thing that's suboptimal. Like, we're not saying that everything has to be optimized. Like, there's real pro con decisions, risk reward decisions that have to be made. It's just there's certain times where that risk reward decision is very obviously done badly, and that's the problem.
It's funny. It's funny you mentioned that. Because, and I'm going to be revisiting this individual. So Gia Thinking Canine, when she put out her video defending her good horse riding dog training buddy Denise Fenzi for an honest mistake that could have happened to anyone, an honest accident, she actually says, "None of you have ever taken any risks before." So when she said that, looking back, Gia is actually, I'm not joking, I think could probably be like clinically retarded, like classed as mentally retarded. It's very hard to get her to speak like an entire sentence where she doesn't forget what she's talking about. So in context, I was like, she's just being weird. Looking back,
no, I was with the context, saying the quiet part out loud. Yeah,
yeah, 100%. You're saying the quiet part out loud, which is she was taking risks doing this, meaning she's doing something bizarre with the dog in the car, not normal, right? So I wouldn't classify having a dog in a car and checking on him responsibly as a risk. That doesn't make any fucking sense. That's sort of like saying, oh, you're taking a risk when you drive a car. It's like, okay, but not like that's not definitionally not how we would converse on that. You know what I mean? Like we wouldn't speak of it that way. So, like you said, she's saying the quiet part out loud. She's tipping the hand, which is to say Denise was knowingly, willingly, and I would say proudly, based on the fact that she constantly talked about it and was instructing other people to do it, putting her dog in a car unattended for long periods of time for reasons that we can now confidently speculate indicate a complete lack of dog training and also just like insane negligence. So that is totally different than an honest fucking mistake. These are totally different dimensions. So yeah, and I found that any remaining people that were like, dude, you're being mean, they actually just didn't have the information. They were still operating off the information that we were, which is, hey, we're going to assume, right, we are going to assume she's just a normal person that just fucked up. That's not the case. I actually, my buddy Emma DM'd me and was like, I'm so sorry. And I already knew what she was talking about. And I said, you don't have to. And she was like, no, like, seriously, like, I even want to have a public conversation. Maybe we'll have her on the pod or we can do another.
Yeah.
Somewhere else. But like, she represents, because when it happened and I started to give a little bit of like, dude, we don't actually know what happened. She DM'd me. She was like, dude, like, come on, like, leave it alone. And I was like, you're right. And now she's coming back to me again. With the information we were operating under back then, her position was completely sensible. Totally cool. Now she's like, oh my God, like this is not even remotely close. And she was like, I was projecting my own emotions into it. I wasn't just thinking about the facts. I was assuming that she's like one of us. She's not one of us. These are different people. The way that they treat dogs is different than us. And now I know, like, I get what you've been saying about these people being that way. Like, they are not like us. This is not a community. This is like warfare. And we're dealing with aliens. Like, they are aliens to us. So, yeah. Unfortunately, that means, and Emma learned this lesson, I mean, to me too, that you cannot just assume normal, rational behavior from these people when something's going wrong. Zach George, my boy ZG. He's doing I guess I had people send me some of this stuff. I haven't actually watched any of his shit, and I don't want to actually attack him because he has no influence anymore. But he's talking about, oh, there was an accident and my dog he's trying to do like a raisin train with like a feral dog, whatever, bullshit. And he's like, oh, there was an accident. My dog fell off of my deck, right? And it's like, okay, I hope the dog's okay, whatever. And then you look closer, and the things he's talking about, he was locking the dog onto the deck to try to keep it from pottying in the house because he wouldn't tell it to stop. So then the dog got bored out on the deck unattended and was like, I'm surrounded by woods. I'm just going to jump off this bitch. So you can't assume that, oh, they were hanging out on the deck and the gate was unlatched and there was ice and he slipped. No, it's like Zach's fucking zonked out on whatever anxiety medication he takes. He's taking 3 times the dose, allegedly. Fucking zonked out on his couch, and this dog that he hates is locked outside going, dude, someone interact with me, and he jumps off the fucking deck to try to kill himself. So you can't just assume. I saw the security cam footage, by the way. This is literally what happened. You can't just assume that these people are like normal. They're luckily stupid, but they're demons. We're dealing with, like, the bad part is they're evil. The good part is they're stupid. And they're too stupid to know what to hide. And also part of it is they've never been taken into account. So they may start hiding things now because people are actually talking. But they've just been out in the open, just like whipping their dicks out. Hey, it's like, well, actually, you can't do that anymore, by the way. Like, we don't like that. It's not cool. And they're like, what? So anyways.
All right. Enough of that.
Yeah.
Dog training.
Yep.
So yeah, which topics do you want to talk about first? Getting a neutral dog to be social, or
can I make a
yes, or a third option
an announcement? Like, I'm gonna bait. Can I make a bait announcement?
Okay.
Which is gonna be like a fake hype building announcement, but it actually has substance. Hang on. I need to clear my I might be like dying. So allegedly, all right, there is a workshop being planned with your girly pop bestie right here, okay? Looking at late October in the Northeast, someplace, allegedly near Boston, okay? Going to be a 3-day type thing. Obviously, when it's like actually real, I'll post up an announcement thing. But I wanted to give you guys I submitted what I want to do this morning and got I mean, they already tell me do whatever the fuck you want, but I want them to know ahead of time what I'm thinking. So there's a good and bad news to this, Kimberli.
Yep.
So the idea was tossed around about me doing like a write-up, like a formal write-up about like my general progression. I don't like using the word blueprint, but for like behavioral rehabilitation.
Yep.
So the bad news is I was going to make just like a Patreon video and you'd be able to just, whatever, just get it that way. The bad news is I'm not doing that anymore. The good news is I'm going to make that my 3-day presentation. And ultimately what that means is it's going to be a lot better because I'm going to be preparing it with a lot more purpose. So it's not just going to be like my whiteboard and me scribbling hieroglyphics. It's going to be like, really, I'm going to go all out.
Actual PowerPoint. Wow.
Yeah, PowerPoint. I mean, my wife's going to make the fucking PowerPoint again. But
again, oh my God, that's hilarious.
Yeah, she made the shelter one. Hey, Rip, let's go. Ripley. Okay. So that does mean that obviously if you want to see it, you have to go. But I will say, if it goes well like the first one did, which I think it's going to, I imagine they're going to package it and put it in a video format again. Oh, there's Ripley. She's, I think, 14 now. I always forget. But so it'll be available. And say that worst case scenario, it bombs and like I do a horrible job and they don't end up selling it, I will release it. And like the information, like I'll repackage it and put it into something at some point. So there is going to be a formal presentation that's going to be much more in depth. I already have a million fucking ideas. There's going to be a shitload of case footage. I think instead of doing a dozen dogs where like a few of them were really deep, I'm going to cut it down to like 5 dogs, but make them all highly, highly documented. And it will be unlike anything. I mean, you know what happens when you look up a behavioral rehab, like a course. Like it's literally like I told you that one time. We don't have to name names, but it's like I see the ad for one of them. It's like, there are 3 languages we're going to teach your dog. The first language is food. It's like, just like put me in a cannon and launch me into fucking outer space. You know what I mean? I'm like, holy shit. And this is going to be like a reactivity court, like whatever. So yeah. Anyways, sorry to cuck you guys on like the wait, because it's going to be a while. And, you know, obviously to see it first, you have to go to the thing, but it will be public at some point and it's going to be very good. I promise it'll be really, really good. Okay. Anyways. And Kim said she's going to make the trip out. Whoa. She full committed and already bought her ticket for something that doesn't exist yet. Isn't that crazy? She's going to come. She's going to come support her homie. She's going to watch me just fucking bomb. Like the working spots, I'm just going to fucking bomb. So it's like, it's going to be like, Dylan, get my dog to play it. I'm going to take 3 days and get fucking nowhere. And I'm going to be standing around with a stuffy on a line and the dog's going to be fucking staring at the ceiling. Anyways, that's just like my nightmare.
Yeah.
What else do I got for you? There's a lot of dog training going on. Did you have anything? You all good? You're all set on that?
On the workshop? Yeah.
Yeah. You all set?
Yeah,
I'll see you there.
Questions? Yeah.
I'll see you. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. It's just you don't have any questions just because you've been thinking about it so much that you've already got all the information.
Right. Of course. Yeah. All the contingency plans. Yes.
Yeah. So. Yeah. I mean, we've got a lot of dogs going right now. Mowgli's doing really good. Mongoon, I took him out to like an actual public place this morning for the first time. And interesting things going on. You want to know something, like a theory that I started developing the other day, like a few days ago. So we actually didn't talk about it last time because I just realized a few days ago. So he comes in. This is why you can't just make assumptions, and you need to, like, the program is an ongoing evaluation, right? So when you watch the early videos, like the intake videos of Mongoon when he's in Korea in whatever city, you're looking at a dog that's being traumatized by the city environment, right?
Mm-hmm.
It turns out that may not actually be true.
Hmm.
I think it was a traumatized dog that would happen to be in a city.
Sure.
And I never would have thought that was a possibility. Because you can look at how he's reacting and how he's moving and all of those things, all of those behaviors that he was showing. I genuinely, it is on the table, very much on the table, especially after this morning, and I can go into it. And I can tell you like how I came to start thinking this. It is very much on the table that the dog was trashed by how he was handled. And if they had been doing that in a more like small town setting, he still would have been like this. So any questions, or do you want me just to start ripping?
Go ahead.
I noticed it seemed odd. It seemed odd to me the first couple of weeks. And I chalked this up to the novelty effect, where I would walk him up. It's the apartments up there, right? So it's like we're down here chilling by the water, running around, we're getting play going. This is like the first couple of weeks. And we'd go up there. It's not the busiest place, but like, I don't know, you guys have seen it in some of my videos, but like, you get a little bit more better view. But like, it almost looks like its own small little town ecosystem, right? It's huge looping parking lots, pavement, people coming in and out. You can hear people chattering from the windows. There's like a rec center thing. There's facilities, there's garages, cars going in and out. There's constant traffic. And I started walking Mongoon up there, and there was not a noticeable change in his disposition or emotional state going from this, all right, taking this in right now, to that, right? These are two completely, you almost can't even imagine, like you would have to go off-world to find a more disparate change like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I was like, that seems, again, and I was chalking it up to just novelty, where it's like he's just so dazed by everything changing that is just, you know, this is going to wear off, and he's definitely going to start flinching at cars. He doesn't do that. Not even a little bit. A car will start right next to him, and he doesn't even lift his head. He'll be sniffing, he just doesn't even care. People will come suddenly from around a corner out of a sliding glass door, and he wants to go see them. Now, if they were to interact, he would panic. But he's not having the big reactions that I would have bet my fucking life we would be dealing with, right? And, you know, I live in basically the south of New York. I mean, which is to say upstate New York. There are firing ranges and there are guns going off constantly out here, right? He hasn't reacted to a single shot. Not one. I made a joke on a video today. I was like, well, I'm trying to proof him for an adopter in Chicago. But he doesn't, like, you would think, you would swear, I know I did, that a dog that was fucked up by the city, the sound of machines, people, footsteps, this would all just be like a classically conditioned hell. And I had him out this morning. I was taking Aries out, and I was like, dude, I'm gonna bring both dogs. Fuck it, let's go. And I brought him out. Look at Ripley just wading into the water. I love when she does that. When she goes in with no goal, it's just like, I'm gonna go. But I took him out to this park, and it's in the middle of a city, and it's a very effective launching point to like do these expeditions where, like, on one side, if I wanted, we could go out into these wood trails. We could also stay in this field that'll have people playing soccer and baseball and bicycles going around. And we can also go into neighborhoods that are pretty busy. And we kind of did a little expedition where we were like half in and half out of the field and in the neighborhood. There's construction vehicles, moms pushing strollers, other dogs, people running, loud conversations. There was a guy that actually looked really fun. He had a dumpster out in his driveway, and he's in like the third story of a building, and he's just chucking garbage, and it's just and Mongoon, the first time something hit, I think he was throwing like fucking computer parts or something, the plastic smashes, he had a reaction, and then he was okay, and he just goes back to sniffing. And like at one point he chased a squirrel while we were out on the retractable, and then we found another squirrel, and I was able to initiate it and run with him. And like, we're in an environment that is not nearly as intense as the one where he came from. But with a dog that genuinely has a trauma to those things, you can find little flickers of it with lower stakes. And sometimes, I would say most of the time, you find bigger because the dog is predicting that this is going to be bigger, right? So you introduce a little bit of it with a dog that's traumatized. It's kind of like, how dark do we want to get? Like a physical, like a kid that's getting beat by dad.
Oh yeah.
It's like,
no, it's the
I imagine
that is the worst.
This never happened to me. I imagine if you heard a yell, that kid would have a bigger reaction than a normal kid hearing a yell because of where it could go.
Correct.
Right.
So this literally actually happens. That you can like take a kid who's from a bad background, and you can like shift from like it's a computer generated image, or like a flip book, like still frames. But you go from like 100% happy to 100% angry, but there's like a gradation, and like quote unquote normal people will see anger at like, I don't know, flips into like 60% anger or whatever. Kids that have a history of trauma, they'll see it at like 30%. Like, I'm making up the numbers, right? But like,
so they just go there extremely fast.
Correct. Like, they're very, very sensitized to that trigger.
So like it reminds me back when I didn't know how to train dogs, and I was training dogs and I was being paid for it, which is really unfortunate. Many such cases. There was a dog that I had that I was walking her over this little bridge, and there was some water under. There's like a stream, and the dog had like a fucking panic attack, like a full-blown panic attack. It was this little German Shepherd. I was like, what the fuck? And I talked to the owner about it, and they were like, oh yeah, when she was really little, we tried taking her out on our boat a few times, and she just melted down. So the dog saw a stream, and she was like, they're taking me to the boat, and started having that reaction. So, which, by the way, I wish I had that right now. That would be a sick fucking, could you imagine day-to-day dog training on the water? All right.
Yeah.
So with Mongoon, I'm just not seeing that. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm seeing general weak, fearful Mongoon.
That was my next question. Is he's still weird about like the fucking plastic bag that was sitting in the, you know what I mean? Like, that shit is still there. Yeah.
He actually did get tilted by a car, but it wasn't because it was a car. It went into a pothole behind us and went da-dun. But it wasn't, that could have been someone with a sledgehammer. smashing concrete or something. Like, it could have been anything. So, and again, I have to verify this. I have to do more experimentation, and it could end up being that this was a total fluke, like a bunch of flukes lined up in a row. But why is this important? Why do you think this is important, Kimberli?
I mean,
there's a serious practical importance to this information.
Like, for me, it's more so like the problem is like generally strengthening his character rather than like counter conditioning desensitization. It's like, it's a little bit.
Yeah, but you're based. You would be doing that anyways. Don't get out of this.
Yeah. But like, you don't have to be as specific in your approach. Like, you can find things that are a lot more of a proxy than like trying to take them out and do like, oh, we need to go into the city or whatever it is.
That is true.
But
that is
I don't
actually
think that's
accurate.
what you're looking for.
No, because there's a big one. There's a big one. This dog needs to be placed, right?
Yeah.
So
like you can place him in the city. That's fine.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah.
It may not be my first option, but before it would have been, are you out of your fucking mind? I would have been like, dude, that's disqualifying. Potentially, I was open to the idea, possibly, that this dog couldn't live anywhere but this. You know what I mean? And that is extremely narrow, unfortunately. So it's a situation where if someone lives in a townhome, and let's say they do have access to something like this, but it's like a 20-minute walk, and they have to go through a little bit of like a cityscape, that's cool. Whereas before, I would have been like, dude, do we want to traumatize this? Like, I would be coming up with management strategies. I'd be like, dude, is there another way? Can you walk? Like it would be really bad, right? Could you just drive him over and have to do like, no, I can be like, no, dude, like, he can hang out in your house and he can hear construction outside and he's not going to have a fucking panic attack. Whereas before I would have said, no fucking way. So you just can't come to these conclusions so fast. And again, my opinion could change. But it's interesting because the dog is still wrecked, but it's just not, like you were saying, it's not as a specific wreckage.
Yeah.
And we're going to be doing more just broad.
Well, it almost does track, right? Because like if he were sort of like, because I think like there's sort of specific traumas of like, oh my God, city noises induce panic. And then there's a more generalized, like, your threat response system is just kind of fucked up and hypersensitive. And with him, to me, it has always leaned in that direction from what you've shown, because it's like the most mundane things set him off. And usually that is a signal of like, you're kind of just constantly stuck in this like hyperactive state. So like, like whenever I see a dog startle at sort of like everyday objects, I'm like, oh, okay, like there's something abnormal here. Like you're just sensitized generally. Which it doesn't mean it can't be also like those two things can definitely coexist as well. But definitely got the impression from him that he just like overall was kind of just constantly walking around thinking that he's gonna die. Which I mean, you've said that before, but
but so let's take
it's interesting that like it's not like it is. It's on one hand like much deeper, but on the other hand, not actually that deep.
Right.
Yeah, like it's just kind of one problem that you can focus on.
The feeling being on a city street thinking you're about to die versus being on a dirt road and thinking you're about to die is not that big of a difference.
Yeah,
right?
And like probably the only difference with the city is that he's going to encounter more triggers just because that's like
density.
It's just how it goes. But like that's not. That's more of a happenstance than that's more of like a symptom than a cause kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah. And again, I could be off, and like you were saying, you're likely to still find like specific things. I have no doubt about that. But it's extremely promising, his non-reactions to vehicles and his curious reactions to people coming and going. He really, like, he'll see people and he's like, I want to go see what they're doing, which is really fucking cool. That could end up just totally saving him from all this, and getting him adopted. So yeah, that's just,
that's
I
cool.
don't know. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
and it will make me, I could easily like repackage it and lie through like subtle language manipulation and allow people to continue to believe that he was like a city traumatized dog, and I could sell it as that. And then it, in that hypothetical world where I then did that and I got a bunch of dogs that were city traumatized dogs, when I actually hit one that was, you wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing with Mongoon. Like you wouldn't be able to, because like if they actually
It's a
are,
much
then
longer
they
process.
just should, yeah, and they
Yeah.
probably just shouldn't
Yeah.
live there. If you're looking at a dog that
Correct.
genuinely cannot handle it, it's like, dude, like,
Correct.
why would you
Yeah, I
subject
think
them to that?
that's something a lot of times, like, I think is always in the back of my head because of like sport and breeding background, but like there are real genetic limitations to dogs,
Yeah.
and like genetics, you know, always in interaction with the environment. So like thus the air quotes genetics, but
Right.
I think that's another thing that like it's easy to yeah, like just square peg round hole, where it's
Yeah.
like, oh, but I want this dog to be able to live
Got
with
it.
this particular family or in this particular environment. And it's like, well, it's like, could he do it? Probably, yeah, but like, is that really ideal for the
Right.
dog when he's kind of constantly having to like potentially confront yeah, the thing that is super scary for him or whatever it is, right? Like you can overcome a lot, but there is a point where it's like some dogs are just like, yeah, man, like I don't want life to be that hard. It's like, that's okay.
Right. Right. And there are some situations that are tolerable levels of torture, I guess you'd call it. Like that's like if you had a manageable situation where it's like, okay, let's say Mongoon is actually petrified of city streets, but like the way you taught to heel and you can carry a toy and you can use food in a certain way and you can get the 10-minute walk out of the way with minimal damage, and then you can make something like have a good time with him. Yeah, that's okay. But like if the dog's existence is his adrenal response going off 50 times a day, that's probably that's just not good.
Right, yeah.
So
That like when it
so
tips into chronic stress, it's like, well, you know, that becomes a little bit difficult. Yeah,
do we
but
want to
anyway.
take bets on this? Do we want to take bets on this? A notification just from a person that I don't know just popped up, a direct message that said, "Hey, why isn't it time for you to stop just saying?" What could that be about? It's interesting that when someone says something like that to me, it could be like 500 things. Like I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea.
I don't know.
It could be
Yeah,
me. I'm going to bet.
we'll find out on the next episode.
I'm going to bet it's the karate investigation. I
Oh,
think it's probably the karate investigation.
oh
Um.
God.
Anyways, uh,
So actually that is potentially a good segue into I had a listener question about once you get a dog to the point where he is neutral with other dogs, how do you start the socialization process? And like one of the things that I always tell people is like that's up to the dog.
yeah,
And like that's dependent on his genetics and his personality. But anyway, that's like skipping to the punchline a little bit. Do
yeah.
you have
Well, there's
any initial reactions to that
yeah.
question
The thing is
topic?
that it is actually a very predictable. There's a very predictable, reliable answer to this, which is good and bad. Um, and that is you need to find compatible play partners. So
Yes. Yes.
that
That is
is
actually usually the
basically
hardest
just
part.
that is actually just basically it, unfortunately. But again, it's fortunate at the same time. It is fortunate. Like for me personally, it's fortunate because I've got 3 dogs that interact pretty differently with dogs.
Yeah. I
So
do not. Both of my German Shepherd boys are like, hey, let's tackle each other. And
right,
there are not many other modes. So I
yeah, yeah.
borrow a lot of
Um,
dogs.
so so yeah. It's really if you. I think personally, if you are doing that type of training, it is almost obviously not mandatory. I think it's extremely important to have at least 2 personal dogs that interact differently with other dogs.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I would probably want to always have 3, but because I also like having the option of having a pack, like a group of dogs.
Yes.
There's other
Yes.
benefits to that. Like
Yes.
Mongoon, for instance, I met up with a friend and her 2 dogs, and we were out in the woods, and he very much melds into a group, and I can tell he
Yes.
was like
That's
really
actually a super interesting
flourishing.
topic because a lot of dogs don't do good one on one. They do good in a group of 3 because then they can be the third wheel and not directly confronting or being messed with. It's like, oh, you guys can go play over there. I'm going to hang out, get comfortable, but like not feel pressured to join.
There's a reason why I think that baseball is probably the scariest sport to play. Specifically, well, like if you're, actually every position and at the plate, why baseball is a much scarier in terms of nerves game to play than a game like football.
Yes.
Particularly in football, if you're playing at the line of scrimmage. So like if you're playing defensive end and you just want to hide that day, you can kind of just mix into the mush of guys' bodies, right? Every once in a while you get a, attack, whatever. But like you can also, like, don't get me wrong, at defensive end you can get exposed. Like, but it requires people to know what they're looking at, like to see what's going on. And also too, if you're playing like wide receiver and you catch a wide open pass, you can look bad. But in baseball, you are at the plate alone and everyone can see. If you're playing third base and a ground ball goes between your legs, there is nowhere to hide. You are alone. You are alone.
That's funny. I've never thought about that before. Yeah.
So that is why the game is so anxiety fueled and horrifying. It's a mortifying game because you just are constantly in positions where you are alone and you have to do it. And if you don't, you look really bad. So it also just so happens too, errors in baseball look usually pretty retarded and goofy.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong, like dropping a pass in football can look pretty dumb too, but it's usually over with and we're moving on. But like,
and
it's like
probably more costly in baseball too, actually.
A ground ball goes between your legs. You've got the merry-go-round. People are running the bases. Everyone's screaming. And it's just like, holy shit. Like, everyone knows that was my fault. So with the dogs, with the pack, you can get that effect with some of these dogs. And I do want to get back to the dogs playing thing. You can get this effect where some dogs just feel better being able to be in the pile of bodies, where it's like no one is watching me directly. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm kind of in the middle. And Mongoon was drifting into the middle. It was actually like he was perfectly in the middle almost the entire time. So it was cool to see. So like that's information I can pass on to whoever adopts him. By the way, he does well in a group of dogs and a group of people. And then the smaller the group, it seems he gets less comfortable. Obviously, we can address that too. But yeah, I think having a group of dogs that interact differently with other dogs is important to use as helpers because when you're trying to get a dog to play with other dogs, you cannot, it's like play with us. You have to find the way the dog wants to play. And we're not involved in this because it's dog to dog. So you actually just have to find a compatible play partner. That's just how it is.
Yeah, you can't instruct the dog like, hey, you're being too rough, or hey, he actually wants to play chase instead of or whatever.
Right. Now, I will say that I have found time and time again, when you get the compatible play partner to open up the dog, they will then play with a wider range of dogs. Yes. I don't know if you've seen a similar thing.
The skill of a dog having, I mean, it's literally social skills, right? Like they're able to see, okay, this cue leads to that cue. Like they are learning a language. And once they learn the basic language, like, okay, I had a conversation with this person. Now I can go talk to this person and I feel a little bit more confident doing it. Like that definitely happens. And even like really good helper dogs, because the reason they're good helper dogs or become good helper dogs is because they start to play match really fluidly. Like, as much as I was like, oh, we can't have a dog that, like, you do need to find the dog that has this right style and energy and that sort of thing. There are definitely dogs that exist that can go from 0 to 100 and anywhere in between, and read the other dog and match that. That definitely is not every dog, and it's again like a skill that takes time to develop.
You get these gems.
Like
you get these gem helper dogs. Harrison is the best I've ever seen personally. To the point where I talked about that one shelter dog, Phoenix, that was actually trying to kill him. When we separated them, like we went to put her away, he was trying to get to her. He doesn't know self-defense. He almost is like, he gets like a trainer, or like I should say a good trainer, where when we can't get play, we feel this like longing, like this like, dude, I need to find it. Like he gets like that. It's so fucking weird. And he will not give up, but he also, at the same time, he's patient in his relentlessness. Like,
yes,
a dog will
yeah,
go
it's
off
not a
on him.
needy, overbearing.
Yeah,
Like there's
he'll
a
leave.
weird energy that dogs can have
Yeah,
too. Yeah.
he'll leave. Like, if a dog's like, dude, fuck off, he'll leave and he'll wait until tomorrow. He'll try again tomorrow. Like, it's actually fucking insane. Like, I'll never be able to replace him. But you find dogs that have varying skill sets like that, and you certainly too. This is just for like general, I guess, like a reactive dog or a dog aggressive dog. You do want to ramp up to, hey, we're gonna introduce a dog that kind of like is more irritable,
Yes.
who will set a line and be like fuck off, like don't do
Yeah.
that.
No, one thing I want to see
Come on, honey, let's
is
go.
can a dog take a correction from another dog? Because it's a big
Yes,
one that
yes.
with under socialized dogs or whatever the problem is, but like a correction instigates a fight. And it's like, no, you
Right.
can like
You can't let that happen.
negotiate within that. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And again, a learned skill. Like I've had plenty of dogs where it is just like, oh, you looked at me funny and now we fight. And it's not
Right.
that they're actually dog aggressive, it's just a misinterpretation. They're honestly socially awkward, but in a dangerous way.
They're not ready to take that information constructively. Like, they just don't know how to like, they don't know. It's kind of like if you try jumping into playing possession with a dog that's like extremely paranoid of people. They can be like, whoa, dude, like, are you actually trying to like fuck me up? You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like if a dog's not ready to receive that information, even if you think you're playing, like a dog could, like in this case you were talking about like a dog correcting another dog, but even a dog trying to play, like sometimes Scout, obviously cattle dog, when she tries to get play going, it looks aggressive, kind of.
Yes.
And if a dog is not ready to receive that information,
right now, the way he wants to start playing is to put his fucking head on a dog's back, and I'm like, oh my god,
that could be really bad. Ripley, come on,
very badly.
Look what Ripley's
Makes
laying
me
in
very
right now.
nervous. Yeah.
Right before I take her inside.
Oh my god.
That can be like the wrong dog could be a fucking catastrophe. Like actually break into like a
and he has no bad intentions. He's just fucking socially awkward.
Just doesn't know
because he's never been on a dog before.
Yeah. This is nice. I think I'm gonna start doing the show while I bring Ripley out, just one-on-one. My old dog.
Oh,
quiet time.
Yeah.
Girl. Because I always bring her out with the pack, and I mean she likes being out with the other ones too, but she likes it one-on-one. All right, I think that answers that question.
Yeah, and I think just like general guidelines to help like facilitate and open up, because I think this is like relatively common sense for most people, but add-on confrontations don't work the best. Like, don't start there. Like greeting on leash with both the dogs pulling towards each other is like not ideal. Go for a walk.
Well, can I say something? Can I say something?
Yeah.
Can I say something to my homie?
Yeah.
I like. How do I put this? You guys know, like, you know that when I say something, this is not me saying everyone go out and do this.
Yep. Oh, I just throw dogs in a backyard together. Yeah, for sure.
Well, yeah, that, and I also do like on leash. They're pulling towards you. Like I ball out a lot.
Yeah.
But it's because
not to tell other people to do that.
Right. Yeah. But again, like this is kind of like we were talking a little bit before about trainers giving hardline recommendations about potentially serious situations. As just like general, it's like, dude, you can't. That's like actually dangerous to do. So I am not saying do that. Not really not saying do that. But I think to add on to it to make it make more sense potentially is I won't do this until I have like a really strong understanding of who the dog is, and as well as I have extreme levels of control. So like Mowgli, the boar bull, pretty relatively soon. He's doing extremely well. Relatively soon, I do want to introduce him to Harrison, and we're going to do it safer than I just said. Like we're gonna meet at a fence, have them meet on the other side of a fence or whatever. But then like I'm just gonna let Harrison in and we're gonna ball. But I know I can stop Mowgli in like under a second. And I also know
like once you have stopped aggression elsewhere, you can take much higher risks because that you can hit the brake pedal. But like if you don't have that either, like
it all comes back.
Realistically, you should probably have that anyway. But yeah, go ahead.
Right. You already need that, but it all comes back to the idea of rehabbing aggression force free. It's like, dude, you're a psychopath. Like, you're a psychopath. If you're saying that, you're a psychopath, because you can't stop them. You have no way to stop them. So like, how do you even go into any potentially remotely close real world scenario with no brake pedal? That's insane. That's fucking insane, dude. And you're sending the client out like that. That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways, what you were saying about, let's go for a walk, and like, if this is a dog that actually has attacked, like a muzzled walk is a really good idea.
Yes. Yeah. Like if you're in like one-on-one lessons, or you're giving a client advice if they have like a slightly cranky dog, like this is kind of the kind of advice. If it's like part of a broader training program or a board and train, I feel like that's where you can definitely start getting into some really interesting stuff. Like kind of what we're just touching on is like, you can sort of throw them into the deep end a little bit more. Not in a way of, I don't know how to say it. Like, setting them up for failure versus success sounds cheesy to say, right? But like, you're automatically so much further along in, there's so many more scenarios that are actually setting them up for success when you have a more like holistic training program done. And like true control over the dog and all that stuff. Like, but if you don't have that, set them up for success.
You're going out there without
you don't have a ton of contingency plans. Yes. Yeah.
You know, there's no reason.
So yeah, that's where it's like, take all the good advice of like, you know, go for a walk side by side, muzzled for safety if you need to, et cetera, et cetera. And I think like, I wanted to get with that though too is, I think a lot of times people freak out and like start interrupting what would be productive social interactions. So it's like, you also have to reach a point where like, if you are going for a walk together and the other dog starts to sniff the other dog's butt, and the other dog kind of like stiffens up for a second, it's a potential that they could go into a play bout after that. You know what I mean? And you have to let that happen and not just interrupt.
So when you say,
because you're going to block them from actually progressing to that next step. Yeah.
When you say potential, it's actually like more likely than not.
Yes. Yes.
With so many.
There's also a potential for a blowout fight, though. That's what scares people.
No, this is why we can't say just go do that. Like, you cannot. Like, I'm not telling anyone to do anything. I'm talking about like
the precursor
sort of
to
like,
every fight is the same sort of stiff body language.
Right. It's like, oh my God. And that's like, if your dog, if the dog's blowing up, you definitely need more structure around the house. And it's like, you know how many dog owners I've talked to that have been through trainers that have given just broad spectrum advice like that, and the trainer is doing everything they can to gaslight the owner into thinking actually you have no control around the house, and the dog lives like a prisoner. And it's like, you don't know what's going on inside of the house because you're not working with them. You should stop just doing this digital bullshit. Anyways, so when I said work with the trainer, I mean,
and also you're probably making it worse, advice. Even if you are making them a prisoner inside of the house, and the client's actually doing it.
Right. But anyways, that is true.
Yes.
So I should also mention too, my favorite thing to talk about, which is equipment. I think it should be said, maybe at some point I'll put up a story or something to make people mad, but to make them think about how people that are constantly trainers that are constantly talking about equipment choices as like a form of content just have nothing going on. I can't imagine a more boring thing to talk about than
it doesn't fucking matter.
Gizmos. Yeah. It's like, okay, now that was a very Dylan coded thing to say right there. It doesn't.
I mean, it matters 1%. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I like that you said that because that's kind of what I believe, but it's not actually true. It's like one of those things that's not true that I don't care.
Okay, so like that's why it's so funny. Like when you said, "Oh, that's Dylan coded," I'm like, I've definitely said that before, but I usually do not speak in absolutes for that reason because it does matter 1%. Like. If Mowgli is overpowering you, it's like, go use a fucking pinch collar. Like, that's fine. Like, that matters. But, or the muzzle needs to fit properly. Like, that obviously matters. It's not an actual topic.
Okay, I think we're good.
That fixed it? I don't know why.
What I was going to say, all right, we're good?
Yes.
Equipment obviously matters, and like when you said like the 1%, I think generally speaking that is accurate, but there are some cases like in this case with potential dog to dog aggression,
Yes.
if you are doing introductions, rehabilitating a dog that, let's say he's actually fought before, the dog needs to be wearing a dominant dog collar.
Yep. Yep.
Like that's the only
that's a good point.
tool
Yep.
that I think punches way in this very niche scenario, punches above the importance of other tools in other areas.
Yes. Well,
Because
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
well, I was just gonna say it's like I can't think of a replacement that makes sense. Whereas the difference for me between a prong collar and a flat collar most of the time is negligible.
Correct. But you
or like a
cannot,
prong collar and a knee collar when I'm reinforcing a down. Like I don't really
yes.
care.
Yeah,
You know
but
what I
you
mean?
cannot choke a dog out on a prong collar. You just can't.
Cannot happen.
So
Right.
yeah, no, that's a valid point.
So dominant dog collars, I would say both dogs should be on dominant dog collars. But I mean, if you know the helper, it doesn't really matter. So like Harrison wouldn't need to. But like if you have especially like dogs fighting in the home and you're trying to reintegrate them and they're like fighting for real, both of them should be on dominant dog collars.
Absolutely.
Did
you have gotten in what's his face on dominant dog collars?
No.
I
no.
thought not.
I knew that was coming. Get the fuck out of here.
Just curious.
If you are constructed differently, you can do things differently. All right.
But so also, if you've done this enough times, you can also tell when a dog has true intent and when they don't.
Yeah.
When they do start popping out. So like even Cotton like never actually had real intent. Like actually, did he even ever bite Zeus? Truly, he just tackled him, right?
He would bite, but it was like to pin.
Yeah, it's not.
He's not like let and like threat. No, he's just trying to take him to the ground and lay on him.
Yeah,
which is really funny.
So like, so like a dog like that is like, okay, that's again. If you're knowing this at home, just fucking put a dominant dog collar on. It's fine.
Right.
But yeah, like you can definitely, when you're doing that risk assessment, there are definitely certain dogs that when they hit that level of like, okay, now we're fighting, they are going to fight, and you need to be prepared for that. There are other dogs that would have to actually be dying to fight. And even then, as soon as the pressure is removed and the other dog gets pulled off, they're like, oh my God, okay, thank you, I'm done. And you'll kind of figure it out.
It would be, it's funny you mentioning though, like, so let's say hypothetically, I were to say, actually, I think virtual training is great. And I'm not knocking anybody that does it. I may one day, like I need to continue to formulate my thoughts on it. I cannot stand doing it. Let's say hypothetically,
hard.
I'm doing Cotton and Zion, that scenario, virtually. I would have them default to dominant dog collars because I would be worried that the humans would start a fight.
That's the thing.
Like I'd be worried that their reaction would start a fucking fight for real.
Yes. Yeah. And that's kind of what we were talking about before we hit record, is like dealing with the risk assessment of client shortcomings. Is you just cannot assume, like you have to have so many more contingency plans and asking a ton of questions and actually make sure you know what's going on, because they're probably doing some stupid shit. And like completely unintentionally, but like, holy fuck. Yeah.
They're doing things you couldn't hallucinate.
Correct. Like I couldn't make it this bad if I tried.
Right. You like your brain could not generate the behaviors.
Yes.
And
like
and
this Doberman puppy I have in right now, 5 months old, and is doing a fucking leg wrap and shot. Like people try to fucking teach that in bite sports, teach a leg wrap, and they have this 5-month-old Doberman puppy just doing it and like committed.
And they're just killing it. Yeah. And they're just killing it. And
it's insanity.
It's shocking. So it's doubly shocking because the things that people will do and the problems that they'll cause are almost like extraterrestrial. Like you're just like, how you are not of this earth. How could you even think of doing that? But the other half of it that's insane is they don't think enough of it to tell you.
Correct.
So
Correct.
It's like they're doing
running
this
on autopilot.
Crazy clown mode shit that's like just really like threatening the fabric of our universe. And then it's just like, oh yeah, of course. It's like, of course, I'm boarding I'm boarding up the windows because if he'll try to fly through the glass, if this is like, I'm like, dude, like you didn't say that. Like we've been talking for weeks and that never, like, it's just insane.
Occurred to you that was strange. Yes.
Um,
Oh god.
yeah, it's just, yeah, it's
So
ridiculous.
anyway, yeah, like definitely if you yourself are handling the dog, like there's a lot of stop gaps that you don't really need or are redundant. Redundancy is never a bad thing. But yeah, whenever it's like instructing anybody that isn't me or isn't somebody that I know to be competent, it's like, all right, we're gonna have a lot more
You
redundancy in the
can,
safety measures here.
right, right.
Yeah. Yeah. But
Um,
anyway.
yeah,
But yeah,
that's,
like broad point, have contingency plans in place where if stuff does go wrong, you can stop it. But I think that's kind of the big point too, is you do need to allow them to do the best, which is always kind of a theme, right? Is you have to actually allow them to make a choice, because just preventing it and preventing it and preventing it forever is not actually going to solve anything.
who was that? What was the name of that Canadian dog? Um,
Oh, the doodles thing. It was like
yeah,
Parker, or no, it was like Jasper or something.
yeah.
It's like a
Ah,
weird.
damn it, damn it. But I
It
have a
was
video
like
on my
a
Patreon.
yeah.
It's a the title is the quote, "He will kill other dogs," which was told to them by another trainer. They'd been through a handful of trainers, but he was like really, really reactive to dogs on leash, like really bad, like actually kind of demonic. It was like kind of impressive. Um, and the owner came out for 2 weekends, and I don't remember if it was the first or second weekend, but it was time to do it a dog introduction. Like we need to get him out to actually interact with his own kind in a way that does not involve this roulette wheel of we're on a walk, a dog turns a corner, I blow up, we get pulled away. We need to show something else. Like it can go a different way. And I have this all recorded. It's on my Patreon. I'm shill segment. Um, but when you see the behaviors of when he meets my dogs, it looks like a fight is about to start. Well, it didn't to me, but like to most, I would say most, even like a good dog owner would look at that and be like, dude, they're about to fucking brawl.
I almost
And
can't stop the like physical reaction I have when a dog stiffens. Like it's just like even me when I like cognitively know like, hey, it's okay. I really have to. I still have an adrenaline reaction. It's really annoying because
can I
like
tell you
one of
something?
my first experiences
Please.
with dog to dog interactions was like same when I was a kid, like same sex aggressive females fighting in the house. And like
Mm,
looking back now, it was like definitely not a problem. But in my
yeah,
16-year-old brain, I'm like, holy shit. That's how it's.
right.
So I was immediately what flips back to. So anyway, it's hard. I get it.
You got conditioned. You got
Yes.
conditioned. Like
Early experience. Yeah. The law of primacy or whatever. But yeah,
yeah, I
anyway.
mean it's probably better to be like that to be honest with you in a lot of situations, but I will say for better or for worse,
Is and it isn't. Yeah.
I am ice fucking cold, dude. I'm like an assassin. Like when that's happening, I'm like, this is gonna be fun. Like I don't know, and like sometimes it's not, and it's like, okay, we gotta do something. But um, I have like a dead calm in those moments. I think it's just because I believe that
Well, once
dogs
you
are
know you
good,
can stop it, then
and
it's
I know I
also
can stop
not
you.
scary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I know the penalty for jumping in too soon. Um, but again, like you are better off if you are not working with a trainer that knows how to do this shit. You are way better off intervening early and just getting help that is good.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Um,
Like it's not necessarily wildly problematic to interrupt too soon. Like you're not causing any like lasting damage with doing that. You're just preventing the dog from figuring out that it can go further. So like
yes,
if all
yes.
you can do is stop at neutral and that's as good as you can
Well,
get with the
let me cut
resources you
you
have,
off.
like there's not. Yeah, go ahead.
No, because I actually think that there is potential, unfortunately, for causing damage. Because let's say that the
Depending on what
dog,
you classify as damage, yes.
yeah, well,
But
let's
yeah.
say that the dog is like, I want to be friends, and the way that that looks is bad, and then you ah in his
Yeah.
mind that was like a punishment. Like I just got punished
Yes.
for
Yes.
trying
If you're doing
to.
that level of interruption, yeah,
Um,
that's problematic.
and what are people going to do? They're going to scream and freak out. And a
Yes.
lot of
Yeah,
times,
that's
if the
true.
dog is sensitive and in tune with his owner, they actually don't need to do a big freak out. They could just
That's
feel
true.
like, oh my god, like mom got really lost it about that. So it is unfortunately a situation where sometimes I think it's better off for the dog to sort of die for our sins for the sake of safety.
Yes.
You're
That's what I mean
better
by
off just
problematic
not
is, yeah,
doing
a
it.
dog's not getting bit and like that, like, it's not problematic that way, but yeah, like, that's the hard part, is you probably are creating some problems that you will have to undo in training if you do
But that
interesting.
trade-off is
Yes.
good for someone that doesn't know how to do
Yeah,
this, doesn't
yeah,
have,
that's more what I
like, that's
meant
a
with,
better
like, if you
trade.
don't
It's
have
like,
the resources to go further, then that's fine. Yeah.
I'm going to shut down my dog in this one avenue,
Yep. Yep.
and maybe that'll cause some weirdness and it'll hurt his feelings, but it's like I'm not going to roll the dice on like a 1% chance that if I'm tearing dogs off each other. And because, dude, let me tell you something, as someone that plays video games, someone that plays card games, 1% happens, dude.
Yep.
That
Yep.
shit happens. I'm telling you,
Yep.
1% happens.
A lot.
I was playing, what was I playing? I was playing Hearthstone a few weeks ago and I lost 4 coin tosses in a row. Or it was more. I think it was more. No, it was. I think it was no. It was 7 coin tosses. I lost 7
Oh,
coin
wow. Yeah, I
tosses in
was
a
gonna
row
say 4 isn't
because
actually that
it
weird, but
was
yeah,
7
7 is
damage
wild.
split. It was 7 damage split between all enemy targets, and there were 2 targets, and they all went one direction, and I needed one to go the other way. And it was just ding, 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 and you get to 4, and I'm like, "There's no fucking way!" Ding, ding, and I'm like, I'm looking around the room. Is anybody watching?
This is
Um,
broken. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, you're better off being safe until you can
Yeah.
get someone
Yeah.
to help.
Again,
But
this is why it's, like, so tricky to give advice on this kind of stuff because there's so many, like, if then, if then, if then. Like, these are all the decision points, which, like, as convoluted as this conversation has been, like, hopefully that's somewhat illuminating
I
to
don't even
how
think I
tricky
don't even
this
think we're
stuff can
giving
be.
advice. We're giving thoughts. Because
Well,
like
correct, correct.
we're
Well,
not
because
gonna
I, like,
like
started to kinda give advice, and then it's like, "Oh, wait, like, actually this, and then actually that,"
right.
and it's just yeah, it's
But
difficult.
I think we give good disclaimers. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
hey, dude, like we're
But, yeah, I
not
think, like,
there.
that is the interesting part with this kind of stuff is, like, it is very, very possible to give a dog opportunities to go from neutral to social, to actually like, to re-socialize them, to show
Yes.
them, like, "Hey, you can have a play partner that actually is very, in tune with you and like have this really positive interaction and then progress towards okay now this is a dog that you might have a little bit of friction with but we can handle that friction
Yeah.
and you learn to socially navigate that and so on and so on but like there's so many points where and I think that's why with any sort of aggression whether it's human or dog or whatever it's just the stakes are so high and I think even more so with other dogs because there's not we can't explain to the other dog like, "Hey, this is what we're doing." It's like if this other
Right.
dog jumps, like Harrison, if he gets jumped 100 times in a row, even Harrison is going to be like, "All right," so like that's the tricky part is just the stakes are high for mistakes. So then you have to make the decision of like, okay, what's the risk versus reward on this? Because
Yeah.
like idealistic, theoretically possible things are not always yeah, like, it can be
Sometimes you
a
just gotta know.
guidepost,
You
but
just gotta right.
yeah.
And this isn't just for dog to dog like potential
Yes.
aggression. This is for literally
Yeah.
like anything. It's like, dude, is
Everything.
this fucking
Yeah,
worth it, man?
correct. Well,
Like
you know what we were
like
talking about with Mongoon before is, like, yeah, you could theoretically get it I mean, now, like, who knows, right? But, like, previously thinking that it was the city environment that fucked him up, it's like, theoretically, if you get him to a point where he's fine living in a city environment, but, like, would it be worth it?
why? Right, right. Like
Yeah, like, that's
0
always
point, yeah.
yeah, it's always the decision-making process, but
And like when people ask me I always get questions about like regression with especially like human aggression and stuff.
yeah, yeah,
Um so I do man, this is going to be taken the exact unique people are going to take this the exact wrong way and they're just going to run with this. Um Dylan actually takes easy cases after all. It's like, okay. I it is up to us to pick clients that have goals that make sense,
yes.
right? So I absolutely am trying to take catastrophe brutal dogs whenever I can.
Yeah. No, sorry,
But
not to like side tangent off of
please.
this, but it's just
Yep.
like it's such an interesting example because when people hear that, it's like, oh, the aggression cases needs to be reasonable. The client that I was bitching about before we hit record, she has unreasonable expectations, but it's
Right.
unreasonable expectations of what a dog is. The dog is completely safe, completely like actually
Right.
lovely dog, like really
Yeah.
nice dog. But
Yep.
her expectations are actually ridiculous. And I have to keep checking them and checking them and checking them. But
All right.
like what she expects a dog to do is just not feasible, especially it's a young dog. And it's just like, holy shit, dude.
It would be
And
better.
I'm struggling with her for that reason.
It would be better for you should the dog actually be awful.
Yes.
And
Because
the
it would make her
owner have
expectations a little more
goals that make
reasonable.
sense. Yeah. Right. That
It's funny, actually, a
you
lot of times the people that are in the most trouble with their dogs have the most reasonable expectations because they understand,
yes.
like, I really don't need much.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
everything has been stripped away. So, like, what
I
is the
do
bare minimum that I need?
before I go
Yeah.
off on this again, I do want to say that sometimes we do as trainers, we do get it wrong. So
Yeah,
like you
absolutely.
will unfortunately, you will run into a client that, and it honestly in some ways feels like a betrayal in a way, which is sort of an immature take, but like you're like, dude, I
Yeah,
really
it's a
did trust
violation of
you.
expectations. Yes.
Right. Like
Yes.
I took you on because like I thought you were serious and you're making me
Yes.
like question my gaydar, if you will. It's like man, you really slipped through the cracks. You are actually a lunatic. Like you're stupid as fuck. So that will happen, don't get me wrong. But for the most part, what ends up happening is I find an atrocious dog with level-headed people that have goals that are worth pursuing. So when you were saying the whole like, is it worth it question, that is also something before the program that we go back and forth on, and they will the client. It's I don't want to say it's like a deal because it's more so just laying our
Well, there's
thoughts on the table for how we
a
approach.
negotiation. Yeah.
Right, right. So it's like what do you want, and like what's the most important, what's the least important, right? And
Hmm.
then along the way we're trying to figure out is which ones are congruent with the nature of the dog and like the threat, right? The potential ongoing threat, depending on how much the dog can be rehabbed. So for sure, there are dogs like Ollie is actually a perfect example where the owner's like, dude, I just right now, if you're outside with him, he will literally just attack a human being for talking to us, right? And it's like it's an extreme behavior. Like that's crazy aggression. Like that's ridiculous because it's like not provoked. Like there are going to be people that are like, "Oh my god, why'd you do?" It's like, dude. Yeah, dude. My fucking retarded neighbor like went to get his mail. It's like, how dare that idiot? It's like, no, dude, we don't live like that. Anyways, they have to live in a human world, okay? Uh, so that is like, yeah, hey man, that's a really cool. And hey, I want to be able to walk them at a park, and I want to be able to go into maybe like a coffee shop and put them into a down. It's like, okay, so we're putting these things on a board like mentally, and I'm like, for sure, the you can't attack people in public thing. We're gonna go at that as hard as fucking possible, right? I feel
Everyday
very confident
safety.
about this type of thing. Yeah,
Yep.
and I feel extremely confident that it's not just going to be suppression. He's going to feel like, dude, I don't need to do this anymore, which is what behavioral modification is. He's not going to feel the need to do those things, and he's going to know it's wrong, which is what we should be trying to do. But in addition to that, I'm like, hey, you've had some pretty nasty bites like in and around your house. It's like, yeah. It's like, okay. How much does it matter for you for like someone to just randomly show up and walk in your door? Take it or leave it. Cool. Cool. We proof for that. We test for that. We train for that with the knowledge that, hey, this is a risk that just doesn't matter as much to you, right? So I want you to run your own show. I feel good about him not biting. I feel very good about that. But we know that on the risk reward and your own priorities, this isn't a big one. So it's like, why? At that point, it's like, why? Um, but we did test for it, and I think I had mentioned it back then when I were we doing the show during Ollie's program?
Yeah.
That's crazy to think about. It feels like so long ago. Um,
Yeah. He wasn't that long ago.
why does that feel so long? But anyways, where I showed up at their house and I just like walked in. Um,
Yeah.
we tested it and it went very well, but I still after the fact was like, hey, probably not worth it, like you can. Um,
Right.
but yeah. I don't know if that was like a great example, but I'm trying to think of like a really good one where it's
Yeah,
just
I
like
mean, I think
why.
it's like, but that's one of those safety things where it's like, okay, like I want to have I would have a stopgap where like the dog does know it's possible for someone to walk in the house and for this to go differently than just you biting them.
Mhm.
And you know you can't do it, but I almost don't care as much as they if they feel good about it. Do you know what I mean? Like it doesn't need to be
Yeah.
as robust. It can be more so like just suppression, and that's okay because it is only going to
Yeah.
happen 5 times in the dog's life. Like even the
Yeah.
cat chasing. It's kind of interesting because I was a DMD about it because it's like, oh, it's wild that you kind of were like, oh, I wouldn't. It was the dog that was like chasing cats in the house, and you're like, we're just kind of
Yes.
not going to worry about it,
We're not going
or like
to.
try to fix it, which is interesting because I like totally get it. Like you're going to end up having to essentially suppress prey drive for a specific uh prey item. Sorry, cat. But that's an interesting one because basically, like, if I'm understanding correctly, your logic is like we'd have to be testing that suppression like 100 times a day. And that's
Right.
gonna break. Like you're gonna have to refresh that. Like it's almost like you have a battery of the amount of times that that scenario can happen, and the dog can avoid, like, can make the right choice. There's a limited number of uses on that, like a limited number of charges. And if you have to use 1,000 of them every day, that's just not super realistic.
Right.
Because you're not
Yeah.
going to change what a cattle dog, and I think it was a cattle dog.
Cattle
You're not
dog.
going to
Yeah.
change a cattle dog's mind on a cat being a prey item. Like, I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen. Cat moves fast, it's going to trigger into prey. So, like, that is the logic of that consideration.
Right.
So anyway, I thought that was kind of interesting as just like a
Well,
topic as
there's
well. But
another
I think
part.
that's probably a good example of like that, like
Yes.
that's how I kind of think about those types of scenarios where it's like, yeah, less effort is going into that because I'm kind of stopping at a little bit of that like surface level of, hey, just don't do that. And I kind of like fuck your feelings for now because it's a safety issue.
Yeah.
And may or may not be able to actually change your feelings about that. But anyway, I could cut
So
me off. Go ahead.
there's another part. No, there's another part about, because I actually think that is a good example because it also shows the other side of it that is extremely important to me.
Mhm.
Um, like at what point are we just like torturing the dog? So
Correct, correct. Yeah, like, you're a former addict, and I'm just putting you in the same exact
right,
location every day,
and
like, okay.
if it's really intense,
Yeah,
like we're going to have to do fucking snake aversion in your living room, right?
right,
Like
right.
I'm going to have to like go off on you. And fine, whatever. Again, if this was something that happened, like you said, even if it was like 5 times a year or something, where it's just like you need to be able to just have avoidance, but the necessary avoidance that we would need to generate would have to be very powerful. And if that cat, if his existence is basically incidentally or on purpose, because cats are evil, taunting the dog, it's like it's like he's laying on the couch and the cat's coming in and fucking around and he's having to just like look away, look away, look away, look away. It's like that's not cool. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
which is
If it
funny 'cause and the reason I almost, like, swiped up on that story is I was like, "Oh, I have a German Shepherd in right now, and one of the problems is cat chasing, but the cat is, like, decrepitly old and never runs."
mm,
And the dog's prey drive is not actually that insane. So
mm.
I'm, like, very confident that we can fix it. Um, and I think it's, there's, like, some other issues in terms of just, like, overall lack of fulfillment, and the dog just, like, she's basically looking for shit to fuck with, and the cat, like, happens to be the thing to fuck with. It's not
Right.
really about the cat.
Hmm.
So anyway, so all of these things that are, like, I think it's a very reasonable goal from the client to be like, "Hey, don't
That's
fuck with the really old cat." So again, just interesting from that decision-making standpoint where, like, I totally agree with both of those things of, like, in that particular situation, it makes sense why you're like, "Hey, this is an unreasonable goal," but the exact same label of cat chasing issue in a different situation is a completely different, judgment on the, whether or not that expectation is reasonable.
so unfortunately, because people have been known to like hear things that are said and just like not. I'll reframe this. Sometimes I don't say the full breadth of what I mean, and sometimes people take things the wrong way on accident. It's my fault. Um, I need to go to bat for avoidance for a second. Um,
Yes.
because avoidance is fucking sick. Avoidance is fucking awesome, and it's bordering on like wizardry when it's implemented well and executed
Correct. And there
properly.
is no emotional fallout. Yes.
Correct. It's actually fucking insane. There's a beauty and an art to it, but
Mhm.
there's a difference between like if a dog's blowing up at dogs on leash or chasing car, whatever it is, the vast like times 100 amount of the times it is not this pathological, crazy, hardwired,
Correct. You're
irresistible.
not actually fighting their instincts.
You're not at all. Like maybe a little
Yeah.
bit, but that little bit that's
It's
there
a
can be put somewhere
misconstrued
else.
correct. Yes, it's a
Right.
misplaced instinct from a bad lifestyle that's creating all of this frustration.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a whole mess of things. Yeah.
So if you were to, let's say you're going to try to create avoidance with me around eating Skittles. All right.
Correct.
You can do that very easily. You
I
can
wish I
shock
was
the
going to
fuck
use the
out of me.
example of food. That's yep.
And
It's
I
perfect.
and I let's say, okay, now you redirect me onto like a sandwich, like normal food, right?
Correct. Yeah.
But if you were to try to create avoidance around falling asleep,
Chicken. Or
or
yeah, that too.
yeah,
But I was
you
going
know
to
what I
say
mean?
like actual needed sustenance. That
Yeah,
would
yeah,
be
yeah. Or
yeah.
water. Yeah, like that
Yeah,
that
water.
that is
Yep.
now you're like you're being a psycho. You know what I mean?
Correct.
So
Falling
like that
asleep is
dog.
actually an interesting example too. Because
Yeah,
that is like biologically actually impossible. I
right.
mean,
So if
eating
Randy
obviously to a point is too, or not drinking water,
and
but falling asleep
by
is
the way,
out of our control to a good degree. Yeah,
this is not to say that this dog is this way with the cat. I tend to believe it because he has killed prey animals before. So I tend
that's
to believe it a little
yes,
bit.
correct.
Um, and there's no real way to test, like, how do you test that? Like, you know what I mean? You can't. It turns out that holding a stuffed doll and screaming does not replicate an actual living fucking thing. You psychopaths. Anyways, um, so for Randy, he is not doing this, how would you call it, maladaptive
Yeah,
behavior where it's like, oh, I need to herd, I need to chase, so I've come up with this dumb little game that lets me get my fix. That's not what's happening. He is actually like there's a part of his brain that is just like I do this. Like this is
yes,
me, right?
yeah. Like
So
the
so
Skittles are filling a gap of what your brain is thinking. Like,
yeah,
oh, I need nourishment, and it's like, how about these Skittles? And it's like, no, your
yeah.
biology is lying to you a little bit. Like
Let's put
that's
it
what
somewhere
happens with a lot
else.
of dogs with reactivity. Is it's like, yes, it's a biological urge that's driving it, but it's not like it's so hard to say, but like it's not real. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
It is the processed sugar of the dog world.
Yeah.
And
And
by giving
what's
them
happened.
actual sustenance elsewhere, then being like, hey, stop it, then it becomes much easier to be very clear on that. And yeah, make
And
actual
what's
behavioral
happened
changes.
is
Yeah.
all
Gonna,
of the all of the doctors and dietitians in our dog world, so all of the
yep.
behaviorists and the trainers have convinced everyone that the people eating candy are all just deranged and at the whims of their brain malfunctions and they have no
Yep.
control. It's fucking ridiculous.
Yep.
No, the dog is not chasing the car because he's afraid and he's got this ingrained he was backyard bred and he's being a fucking idiot, okay? Let's find out what is the motivation behind that. Can we put that somewhere else? And absolutely, we're going to suppress the bad behavior. Maybe that happens early in the training. Maybe it happens later on. However, whatever is appropriate. So I am not saying that avoidance is bad.
Correct.
In the same way that you are not going to reinforce a dog into permanently doing something that they are just like vehemently opposed to naturally,
That's actually a
right?
perfect, yeah, flip side of the coin. Yep.
So
Yep.
reinforcement is subjected to the same, right?
Correct. Yep.
So yeah,
Yeah. Isn't it funny how operant conditioning is all the same? It's just in a different direction. But the
yeah, and it's
principles apply to
literally just
everything.
people just use it as an excuse to project their
Make
emotional
value
insecurities
judgments.
onto
Yep.
animals. Yeah,
Yep.
um, yeah. So yeah, Randy, it probably would not. He's the cattle dog. It probably would not be cool to do that. And but again, the owner's goal they said, dude, I'm fine with the cat situation. Like, we're living like this, it's fine. Um, that's also like the only condition in which I would even consider taking a dog that's maybe got aggression issues if there are children in the home. It
Yeah.
would have to be made extremely clear to me that, like, dude, we're not fucking with the kids. We're not, like, the goal is not, and I, by the way, I don't bait this out of the client or the potential client. I wait for them to say it because I don't want them to say things that they think I want to hear. But like, no, man, we're not sending the dog to you so that
Our kids can go up and jump on it when it's
Lucy can
sleeping.
jump on him and take his bone. Like, no, that's not the fucking goal. It's like, we're totally cool with doing safety. We're doing well already with it. I'm like, okay, then that, that's something we can talk about. So I don't know how we got to goals and expectations, but I think we covered it pretty
Oh, just like with the
quickly.
dog reactivity, where it's like if you're not capable or
Oh, right.
able of
It's just not
going
worth
all
it.
the way, like that's okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's okay. It's okay.
And just that
It's not
general
the end of the
idea of
world.
like that the ideal does not need to trap you.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Like
It's
not
it's about
everybody
it's
can get
about
to the theoretical ideal picture. And in fact,
it's
no one
about
can. Like it's stupid.
taking wins and losses. It's just is what it is. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like the end goal is a guidepost, but if you don't reach it and you still make progress, like still cool. Yeah.
Dude,
You still made an improvement in that improvement.
how many shelter dogs, like, realistically, how many shelter dogs do you think that I work with that go home? How many of them do you think are like running around off leash every day in public parks?
Probably
Zero.
10%. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Zero.
zero.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
people just don't do it, right? Because I mean,
Definitely
no
not
one
every
like,
day. Yeah. I think people do it
the-
occasionally.
right, but it's just not like, and of
No.
course that's not optimal, and like, we could do that in 10 seconds if they wanted to, but that's not what it is. It's the wins and the losses. You know what I'm saying? Like, we take that. It's cool. Um, you will go insane if you're trying to optimize every single thing with client dogs. Like, you will go out of your fucking mind.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, it's actually kind of
who's
funny. This is a totally different topic, but the principle applies with breeding. You can tell when a breeder's very new because they believe that they can create a perfect
the
dog.
perfect? Yeah.
Yep. And that they don't want to see how many problems are actually in whatever respective breed, or that they're going to produce those problems completely unintentionally because somebody then didn't tell them so, or we just didn't know, whatever, right? Or because genetics are fucking weird. Um, and then even like the realities of like whelping and raising a litter, they have this ideal picture in their head, and it's like, oh, sweetie,
All right.
that's not how this all works.
It's never. Yeah. It just doesn't
Yeah.
with dog. I
And
mean,
then
with
there are a
anything
couple
with
litters
dogs.
later
Yeah.
and you talk to him and you're like, oh, okay, like
More
now you got it.
reasonable.
Now you got it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
And
anyway,
like, it seems that way with everything involving dog. I mean, it could probably with everything generally, but
it
here's
is.
an
Yeah.
example, of a conversation I had with a friend who has honestly turned out to be like a day-to-day dog training warrior, like my greatest warrior. Because she just like helped me with dogs for a long time and then just got in contact with a rescue and just goes out and casually trains the dogs to run off leash with electric collars in like a week. And it's like insane. And she's helping place, and it's fucking nuts. And she's doing this without my help, by the way. And she's not a dog trainer. She is a regular dog owner that worked with me and then was a helper, still continues to be a helper. So by the way, I've got footage of KP teaching trainers back at the facility in Korea, and I gotta post it
Oh,
because it's so
nice.
fucking based, because he's teaching them, like, you can see he's like blowing their minds with having a dog on a long line and like running. And I'm like, oh my God, he's doing it. He's fucking doing it.
Yeah.
So
It's
anyways,
so cute.
but the dog, he's very pure. Um, so uh a dog got adopted that was at the rescue for a long time. And my friend's like, oh, he's going home. This is amazing. Great family. And then she was like, but, I feel kind of sick about some of this. I'm like, well, sick is a big word. Like, what? It's like, well, I know the owners they're not going to be able to play tug like me. I'm like, shut the fuck up, dude. Shut up. It's like, oh my God, this dog's lived in a cage for like 2 years.
Yeah.
And right now he's like belly up on the couch. Like, shut up. Like, okay, the dog's not going to have this 100% optimized thrilling game every fucking time. Dude, like, shut up. It's like,
Yeah.
it's freedom versus suffering. Like that is actually
Yes.
just what the scale is, and you moved way far towards freedom, right?
Yep.
Then just
Yep.
let it go. You have to let it go. And that's just part of it. You know, when I said I told her to shut up, I meant it in like a joking way because like I remember being like that.
Yes. Yeah. But yeah, no, you do have to have a couple experiences like that where you have a picture in your head of like, oh, this isn't going to work unless, and then it still works, even though it's not optimal.
Dude,
and it's like,
yeah.
okay, like that's the real world. Yeah.
Yeah. What are you gonna do? You know?
Yeah.
So it's a good one. Yeah, the viewer questions ended up being pretty lit.
Yeah. Don't let me forget the topic that I brought up. I do want to talk about that next time because I think it's an interesting one, but we should wrap this one.
Well, I already forgot what it is, so here we go.
I'll
remind you when I remember.
Okay. I should actually see if you remember. I won't tell you. We'll see if you remember. Because I'll remember.
Christ. All right. I'll work on it then. All right, homies.
All right. Talk to you guys later.